Okay, guys, welcome to our live stream today. My name is Andrew, and I'll be presenting this stream here for TIA today. And I am going to be answering any of your questions. I also got some practice questions for all three of the trifecta we call here in CompTIA, the A+, Net+, and Security+. So if you guys can hear me well, put it in the box there. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me well. Also, if you guys have any questions, can you just put it into the box? I'm going to make sure that I try to get around and answer everyone's question as the night progresses or as the questions come up. So, okay, so we got a few people online. Okay, very good. So what I'm going to do tonight, once again, is, okay, loud and clear. All right, so you guys can hear me well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this. All right, very good, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to answer everybody's question. Hopefully I can get through your question. Let's see if we can keep it to a few minutes. I've got, after this, we're going to do 5 practice questions for A+, 5 practice questions for Network+, and 5 practice questions for Security+. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to explain to you guys how to get these questions correct. What are the topics we're going to know? I'll also explain to you guys, whether you're watching this as a replay or something, when you're studying for these exams, the ups and downs of studying for all 3 of them and the order that you should do them in. All right, I did a video a couple days ago on getting into IT security, and I know a lot of people really want to get into IT security. So in this thing, we're going to talk about actually doing that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. So please, guys, put your questions in the box. Don't be shy. You guys can ask me, if there's any IT related questions that you have or that you've always wanted to be answered, go ahead, put it into the box, guys, and I'm going to make sure that I get around and I will answer as much of it as I could. Okay, so by the way, we're going to be doing this every week. So if I miss one of your questions today, you can always bring it back up to me next week, and I'll make sure I get it answered. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to go through some practice questions here with you guys. Let's see. All right, let's go through the questions here. So let's take a look at the questions as I go through them. How attractive is it to employers if you have an AWS Solutions Architect Associate or AWS Developments Cert Stack with Security Plus? Okay, good question. You know what? Before I get into that, just a really brief background on me, okay, guys? I teach you guys, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but here at TIA, I'm the one that teaches a lot of the technical courses. I teach CISSP, that's Security Management, CompTIA Cert, A+, Net+, Security+, CYSA, Pentest+, CASP, and so on. I also teach the CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker. I've been a pen tester for a couple of years, for about 6 or 7 years. So that's my background. So I did a lot of security-related things, and I teach a lot of security-related topics. So if you have any security-related questions, those are my favorite ones to answer. Okay. By the way, you guys can if you take my Udemy courses, the A+, the Security Plus, hopefully you're enjoying it. All right, let's take a look at some practice questions that we have here. So I got a question here that says, so AWS Solutions Architect Associate and the DevOps Cert Stack. So those are really good certifications to have. I would, if you were to pair that with Security Plus, would be great. First of all, the Architect Associate and the Dev Cert does not really have much security concepts in it. And if you think about what's happening in today's real world, right? If you think of what's happening in today's world with so many hacks that are happening in organizations who are trying to find security people, organizations knowing that at least you have basic security concepts would be amazing to that particular organization. So I would tell you guys, hey, if you can pair pretty much any cert that you have today with a Security Plus certification would be amazing, because even if you're a network person, it's good to have basic security foundational skills. And that's what, you study your Security Plus, that's what Security Plus is going to be doing. So I would say you should be doing that. That would be, and you know what? Security Plus is not a very difficult certification. If you were to study it right, if you do the labs in them correctly, you could learn a lot from Security Plus. So I would say definitely stick with it and finish that. Okay, can I do Security Plus then CCNA? If you want to do Security Plus and CCNA, I would say do your CCNA first, then do your Security Plus. Now, here's why. Now, if you're one of my students, what I'm about to tell you is something that you should remember. I mean, my students know this. If you don't know this, all right, if you're a new person to us, or you're now meeting me for the first time, one statement that I tell everybody is this: you cannot secure what you don't know. All right. If you don't know something, you can't secure it. If you don't know what a router does, you can't secure it. If you don't know what a switch does, you can't secure it. One of the things when doing the field of security that, a lot of people get this wrong. When entering the field of cybersecurity, you cannot just enter it without knowledge. You can't enter it without having basic networking, even like A+ or Network Plus, right? The previous video I did right here on the channel last week or something like that, I explained that. Do your A+, do your Network Plus. So your best thing is to do your CCNA. Focus on your CCNA. Maybe you're going to be a network admin or a network engineer. And then if you want to do Security Plus, which I would think would be a good idea, I think you would then do it then. So don't do CCNA. Don't do Security Plus, then CCNA. Do your CCNA, then do your Security Plus. I think you would gain a lot more out of it from the Security Plus. When I teach Security Plus to students, one of the things that drives me crazy is when they enter the class, they don't even know what an IP address is, right? They don't know what a /30 is or what the OSI model is. They're going to be lost. So make sure you do your CCNA first before that. Okay, so what else we got here? It says, hey, Andrew, I'm here as well. I'm taking the A+ score. I'm wondering about the exam center. Do I have to go to CompTIA? Okay, so if you're taking it doesn't matter where you take the course, by the way, guys. You guys don't have to be our students. Anybody can join this stream. If you guys are knowing somebody that are, studying, tell them to join the stream today. Ask me any questions you guys like. You guys have me for as long as we need. So when you're taking your A+ exam, doesn't matter whether you're taking a course or you're self-studying, it doesn't matter. If you're taking a certification, your A+ exam, we take it at home. These exams are now being administered from your house. All you need to do is have a webcam and a microphone. So if you have like a laptop on your computer, you can just use that laptop and take your exam at home. You would need a quiet room. You would need to make sure your camera works and your microphone works, which I don't see why they wouldn't. And you would then go and take the test right at home. So there's no need to go to a testing center. Now, you could go to a testing center. If you want, they are testing centers. They are Pearson VUE centers that you can go and take a test. I don't see why you would do that. For my other certification exams, like I teach PMP, project management certification, and I tell people don't take the exam in a testing center. If you have the option to take it from home, take it from home, because when you do it at a testing center, the problem that happens is you're going to get uncomfortable chairs. Believe me, guys, I have over 60 certifications. I see somebody asked me that. I have over 60 certifications. I've taken over 100 exams. Testing centers are not comfortable. Their chairs suck. It's very cold. They're always freeze. You're going to freeze to death. When I'm a pretty big guy, I'm like a bear, okay? And when I go in there, I freeze and my hands get cold and stuff like that. It's not comfortable. The screen is too small. But when you take an exam at home, it's your chair, it's your computer, it's your environment, it's your temperature. So I would tell you, take it at home, okay? So there's no real testing center. You have to go to CompTIA. You go to Pearson VUE, VUE, all right? V as in Victor, U as in umbrella, E as in Edward.com to schedule your CompTIA exams at home. Is it true? Yes, I have a lot of certifications, guys. I've been doing IT for a pretty long time. Many Microsoft, Cisco, almost every CompTIA cert that is out there. I can't have there's so many Microsoft cert going back to like MCSE 2000, Exchange Server, ISA Server. Yeah, I've been doing IT for quite a long time in it. So yes, that is true. I have 62 or 63 certifications. People say that's a lot, but you guys got to remember, I'm 40 plus years old and I've been doing IT for more than 20 years. If you do just 3 certifications a year for 20, let's say right now, let's say one of you guys are 20 years old and you do just 3 certifications a year, by the time you reach my age, you'll have 60 certifications also. So when people come to me and says, "Oh, you have 60 certifications," and I say, "Well, it's technically just 3 a year. Is that a lot?" It's not that much. Don't think of it as that much. You could do it too. All right. In 10 years, you'll have 30 of them, right? Because here in IT, if there's one thing we know in IT, guys, is you got to keep getting certifications. All right. Remember, Microsoft certifications, they change. Cisco certification changes. You get the Cisco technology today, that technology expires. You get MCSE 2003, there's 2008, there's 2016, there's 2019. So you have to keep updating your skills consistently, keep getting more certs. That is the name of this game. Okay, very good, guys. Taking my Security Plus next Friday, the 18th. So some tips on that. So what happens now when you take your Security Plus is on the 18th, make sure to get a good night's sleep. Have you done a lot of practice? One of the things that I tell people when taking their exams, any certification exams, whether you're doing A plus, Net plus, Security plus, I'll try to keep tonight's stream here to those certifications. But even if you, especially Cisco and Microsoft certs, when you're taking these types of certifications, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you do a lot of physical lab practice. Now, what do I mean by that? So, like if you're taking your exam next Friday, you guys should practice a lot of labs. There's a good set of labs for Security Plus that people can practice, whether it's doing a vulnerability scan, whether it's setting up an AWS account and setting up platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. Guys, I always believe that the best way to learn is by doing it. Now, even though this method, by doing it, takes a very long time to study, you're going to learn more from it. All right. One of the mistakes that students do is they just pick up the book, they read the book, and they just do practice questions, and then they want to pass the exam. Now, you could pass with that. There's no doubt that you can't. But then how much did you learn? You didn't really learn much. At the end of the day, you're working with technology. You got to pick up and do some labs. Even if you don't do all the labs, just do some labs. Know what you're doing. I guarantee if you do a lab, you're more than likely to understand it. What do you guys think, guys? If the more labs we do, the more likely you understand it. So you got your exam coming up next week. You got a whole week. If you haven't done any labs, you got 8 days, 9 days left. Go and practice some labs. And I think you're going to gain a lot out of it like that. All right. My practice exams fluctuates from 30 and 70% for 102. Okay, so if you're taking 1002, A plus, Core 2 exam, okay, that's a really fluctuation of exam scores there. So here's what I would tell you to do. Same thing I just mentioned just now. I'm not sure what book you're reading or what you're studying, but you're going to want to practice. If you're taking a practice exam and you're scoring 30%, what you have to do is you have to look at the topics you're getting wrong. Say to yourself, okay, what is it that I'm not understanding? Listen, 30%, I don't want to beat you up too badly, but 30% is a really bad score. I would not take the real exam if that's my fluctuation. Your fluctuation by the time you come to taking the actual test should be between, I would say 70 to 90% is a good fluctuation on most practice tests. If you can do that, I'm pretty sure you're going to pass your exam. So 30%, 70%, what you should do more practice, review your stuff, find your weak areas. Maybe, and listen, guys, if you find an area you're weak, the best way to fix that area is going to be the best way to fix that is going to be with practice. You know, if you take, for example, when studying for the 1002, a lot of people have problems with Linux commands. The best way to do it is to practice Linux command. How many of you guys, when you studied A+, be honest with me, put in the chat. How many of you guys, when you guys studied A+, did you guys actually go and install Linux? You know, if you took my A+ course, you saw I installed Linux. I showed you how to do it. How many of you guys did all the commands, right? All the A+ commands that you need to know for Linux. And I do have a question tonight that we're going to be practicing with those Linux commands. So how many of you guys did that? If you did that, more power to you. That means you understand it. So if you find you're doing something wrong, the best thing here you guys can do is going to be to do some practice. Okay, to increase your score. Okay, I just answered that. Okay, so maybe you're from my PMP student. Okay, so I got Oliver. Oliver says, I got the Security Plus last Friday, thanks to your help, Devil. Thank you. I don't think a lot of people know your course, and it's heavily underrated. I don't know. You know, there's some very popular folks that teaches these certifications. I teach it a little differently. If you haven't checked out my course, I teach it very much differently. I do use a lot of labs in my video and a lot of demonstrations to make you understand things. And I think people just learn a lot better that way. You know, sometimes you take a course and the person reads the slides all day. Yeah, you know, you can learn like that, but I don't find it very effective. So if you take my course, I didn't read a slide, right? But I went through a lot of labs. So congratulations, Oliver. Welcome to the club of certified Security Plus folks. So thank you for coming back. Let us know that you passed. Did you celebrate well, Oliver? Did you get yourself a couple pieces of cake and beer? Maybe you did. Jay Wilka, what would you recommend as a prerequisite for CEH? So this is a really good question. I was going to try to keep this one to CompTIA A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, but this is a really good question. A lot of people want to know how to get into ethical hacking. Maybe a lot of you guys on here tonight is wondering, okay, how can I get into cybersecurity and become an ethical hacker, or also known as a pen tester? So before I answer this, let me just explain to you guys the two branches of security. IT security comes in two branches. They come in what's called the blue branch and the red branch, or what's known as blue teams and red teams. The blue branch is defense mechanisms. If you work in IT security as a defender of your network, which means you do things like setting up firewalls. So this would be certifications or something like a Palo Alto device or a checkpoint or something. So you would have certifications that pertain, their knowledge pertaining to installing, configuring, and managing software and hardware to defend your network. Then comes the red branch of security. The red branch of security is what I did. This is a branch of security where you break into networks. This is penetration testing. This is going to be the CEH certification or the OSCP, if you guys know what that is, from OffSec. These are going to be hacking certifications. So these guys try to break in, the other guys try to secure it. Now they all work together, and sometimes you have people that has multiple skills. So CEH is a red certification. And these types of certifications, you would need a good background. Now, one of the things with CEH is that I find is that when people take CEH, is they don't have a good technical background. What I recommend for you to take CEH is have, at a minimum, A+ Network Plus. At a minimum. The next thing you're going to want to have, now, to be a good CEH candidate, CCNA, understand how routers work, understand routing protocols, understand and RIP, OSPF, BGP, understanding some vulnerabilities within them, having knowledge of Active Directory. So some kind of Microsoft certification, older like MCSA, MCSEs, you would want to have, because you would need to understand how Active Directory works. The CEH labs are set up using Active Directory quite often. You should have basic Linux knowledge. So a good CEH student would have good Linux knowledge, good Windows knowledge, good networking knowledge. Now, that if you just notice that, that's a lot of damn knowledge, man. You're basically a full system admin before you come to CEH, and that's really what it is. For CEH, you don't need to know programming like Python. Like if you guys moved up the ladder from CEH and you would take OSCP, I would hope that you guys have Python scripting knowledge, not too much, but enough to get around. For CEH, you don't need that. So I would recommend to get some good knowledge in the background. All right, A+, Net+, maybe some Microsoft certs, some Cisco certs. Then take your CEH. Now, some people would disagree with me, but I'm telling you guys, this comes from experience. I've taught a lot of these students these courses. And it's a sad day when I have to teach a student and they don't know what is a public IP address versus a private IP address, especially in the CEH class. Your Network Plus, Security Plus videos aren't available. No, these videos are. I did not make a Network Plus course. I am making one. We will be making a Network Plus course. They're actually on Udemy. You guys can check those out. Like the video, team? Thank you. Yeah, they did a good job. Go to the testing center. You will get banned by the proctor if they think your eyes are wandering. Okay. You know what? I won a 1995 username here. If you're taking the exam from home and your face isn't planted in the camera, so you're taking the exam, right? So when you take the exam from home, you're sitting in your chair. There's a camera, right? Your webcam is watching you, and then there shouldn't be anyone in the room. But if your eyes wander, like you start looking around, like I'm looking over there, I'm looking over here, they could ban you on the test. So yes, when you're taking the exam at home, now I've taken quite a few CompTIA exams at home. I always take the newest exam, right? Last one I think was the security, when the new Security Plus came out recently. So, keep focus. Don't take your eyes off the computer. It's not a very long test, right? It's 1.5 hours. So I would still say I would not go to testing center. I would still take it at home. Just be cautious and take it at home. I don't want to have to travel to a testing center. Okay, hello there. I'm a self-learned junior software developer trying to get into cybersecurity. Can you give me the best path I could take? So if you're a junior software developer, so self-learned means you're self-paced, you did it by yourself, so congratulations to that. You want to get into cybersecurity. Start from the bottom. Now I mentioned something earlier. You can't secure what you don't know. So what I want you to do is start to build a foundation by getting foundational certs like A+, Network Plus, then get Security Plus, then decide, where do I want to go in security? Remember I said, when you guys are doing security, you have to make a decision. Am I going to get into ethical hacking or pen testing? Remember that red team thing? Am I going to get into the defense side and learn how to configure firewalls, write policies, like a CISSP certifications or SSCP? Or CASP, those things, or CYSA. What field are you going to go into in security? But before you do that, at an entry level, what you guys need to do is you need to build that. You listen, man, you can't fix a firewall if you do not install at least Windows, right? You got to have basic folder structure. You got to have basic Linux command, as most of those devices runs on some form of Linux. So you want to make sure that you start to get yourself a good foundational path. A+, Net+, Security Plus is always a good. There's always 3 good paths. Some people will get Linux Plus before getting in there. Also, if you want to go into the pen testing route, get yourself Linux Plus. I would definitely make that. I would definitely recommend that. Also, So once you get that, don't skip the certifications, by the way. A lot of people do that. I don't ever recommend that. Scores in. Okay, we just answered this one. Do a lot of practice. I've completed Google IT profession, then I'm planning to take A+. That's good. Okay, so you are doing that. Okay, very good. Yeah, do your A+, and then your Network Plus. Okay, aside from A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, are there any certifications I should get if I'm trying to find a job in IT security? I don't want to break a lot of people's bubbles, but we're gonna get real tonight. Let me ask you guys a question. Put it in the chat box. How many of you guys think it's difficult to find an entry-level job in IT security? Put it in the chat box. Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys are finding it difficult to get a job in IT security? Put it in the chat box. What do you guys think? So, okay. So that is not a hidden secret. Okay, you guys agree? That is definitely not a hidden secret. Because why? Well, getting a job in IT security, any job in IT security today, requires some form of experience. All right? That always requires some form of experience. And let me explain to you guys why. You can't, remember, if an organization is going to hire you to secure their devices, secure their software, here's the problem. They want somebody with experience with those devices, with those particular kind of software. So one of the things that we have to know is that sometimes it's very difficult to get into IT security without an IT background. If you are having a difficult time finding an quote-unquote IT security job, then take a job as an entry-level technician, which shouldn't be too difficult. Then branch off into IT security, right? Let me ask you guys a question. Would you hire somebody that has no work experience to secure your network? Well, what do you guys think about that? Would you guys hire you to secure your network if you had no IT experience whatsoever? So that's why, a lot of people ask me this question, is it so hard? And the answer, yeah, it's pretty difficult. So what I would tell you guys to do is don't stop your studying. What you're going to have to do is take that job as a technician, take that job as a help desk personnel. Then you're going to get that job to move up the ladder and a lot faster. The moment you add something to your resume, it's a lot quicker. What other certifications? So right here it said JXT. This is a question I can't answer for you. By the time you have done your A+, your Net Plus, your Security Plus, you guys really got to sit there, and you don't want to be all over the place. Okay, when you're studying, don't do what I did. I'm a moron. I took every certification that I could ever found because I'm not very bright in that way. What you guys should do, when I did find my path, was to be the pen tester. Then I took the certs related to that. But before I wasted a lot of time. Okay, I wasted so much time because I was just all over the damn place, man. I was getting certifications all over the place. So what I want you to do, JXT, is say this to yourself. Where do I want to go? Red team? Do I want to become an ethical hacker? A pen tester? Or do I want to work in defense mechanisms? Do I want to become a firewall administrator? Do I want to help write security policies? What is it that I want out of this? So choose one of those paths. So let's say you want to become, part of the red team, right? You want to become red certification. Go get your CEH, right? Or take Linux and become a Linux, learn more about Linux. And then get your CEH, OSCP. You're golden. You get an OSCP, you make $150,000 a year in no time. If you decide, you know what, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a hacker. I would prefer to defend my network. Now, specialize in things like certain firewalls. companies are throwing money at people with firewall certification, like Palo Alto certified individuals, Checkpoint certified individuals, log analysis, CYSA. Man, I forgot the big log software. Splunk. There we go. I use Splunk in the Security Plus course, right? Becoming a Splunk administrator, doing vulnerability testing. So there's so much things that you can do in the world of security, but you have to decide to yourself, sit down and say to yourself, what the hell do I want to do in security? Right? That's what you got to ask yourself. What am I doing in security? The other thing you could do is say, hey, I don't want to do security. I want to do networking. Then you could do things like get your CCNP, become a network engineer. Those are great jobs. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are throwing away network engineers. It's a big down. It's an easy job in my opinion. I like Cisco stuff, and a lot of people are going out and getting them. So I would tell you guys, hey, make sure you guys look that up. All right. Okay, very good, guys. Okay, so you guys did install Linux. Very good. You're currently using Ubuntu 20. Good. So you guys are on the correct path. You guys hopefully, and don't forget the commands. Stay with the practices. So that's great, man. Poison Power. Hey, I agreed with Oliver. I learned a ton from your courses. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's see here. Appreciate your feedback, Neil. On path to a red team. You're joining my team. Very good. I like that. All right. I'm a big fan of the red team. You know, I did do firewall. I'm a certified in ISA server, if you're old enough to know what that is. Checkpoint and Cisco's ASA. Or it used to be called PIX Firewall 100 years ago. So I did do a lot of those certifications many, many years ago, 15 years ago. Yeah, so if it's difficult, yeah, it is difficult. You know, I do agree. It is difficult to find that job in security. What do you say about CYSA? It's a good certification. Yes, I like CYSA. You know, CYSA goes into how to analyze traffic. Security analyst is all about security traffic analysis, log files, data streams, packet capturing. I think the skills that are being shown in CYSA is a really good skill for any or all IT security people. I think those are great skills that you guys should have. If you're going to work on that blue team or even the red team, I think that would be good to do. You know, if you have the time, you have the money to invest in it, go ahead and do it. You're going to learn a lot from that certification. I know I read it's good. Now, AWS, this is going to go into to more administration. AWS certifications, I find them relatively easy. They're all pretty much all multiple choice. You can learn a lot from just going to Amazon's site by themselves. And when you set up a free Amazon account, you know, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but AWS is pretty much free. You all have an account. If you have an Amazon account, you all have an AWS account. So what you guys could do is you guys can go and set it up and practice and become AWS certified, like get the associate level. Those are pretty easy. You know what it does? This type of certification is good, especially if you're applying to a job where they utilize AWS services. You're going to have a plus over everyone else because at least you understand the technology within AWS. And there is a lot of technology in AWS, or I should say services within AWS. So by having AWS, it just makes your resume stronger. So let's say you're going for a job and you have AWS and Bob doesn't, but that company uses AWS, you're probably going to get the job over Bob. So if you have the time, I would say that's a good certification to get also. Vertical move from there. Promote from within the system and eventually find yourself in a security operation. Yes, you start working. I say, listen, I started out running around the city fixing up people's Windows computer and removing viruses. Okay? A lot of people that start in IT, a lot of old IT folks that is higher up the ladder now or has many certifications or whatever, trust me, they all have a story of them being help desk people. It's, you know, that's the ladder. This is our industry. We start, A lot of us will start at that help desk. I was an on-site tech, running around, fixing servers on site, fixing a couple of routers, fixing some workstations, and then you just move up from there, right? Then as you get more skills, you have the experience, you start moving up from there. Okay, very good, guys. Okay, so you guys got some good questions on there. You don't teach, we do teach it, but it's in a live class, not, I don't have a video course for it. Maybe later on, put out a course on it. Can be a book. So yeah, you can, there's some great books out there. Just go to Amazon, review some study guides. I've seen some study guides on it. I've reviewed some study guides on it. It is, it's not super difficult. I think, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, Security Plus was a harder certification than CISSP was. All right, so I believe that. So if you got Security Plus, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. Poison, hey Andrew, I previously held a top secret clearance, so this is a good asset. If you're going to get into the military, working with the military, you have that top secret clearance. That's very good. When worked with the military from 2012 to 2016, should I add that to my resume? Yes. Put that you know why? Because what that does is that it will enable you, it shows companies that you're capable of having a top secret clearance. It shows there's nothing. So let's say the organization wants to get a government contract and they may have employees that may not be capable. Maybe they have something negative in their background at some point that they weren't able to get the clearance. But that company would say, oh, okay, then you know what? This guy could get it. He has a good background. So I would say add it to your resume. Please talk about Blue Level 1. So Blue certifications are really defense certifications. They really start at things like Security Plus. Then when you get that, then you're going to learn about you can study Microsoft security. That's going to be securing Windows servers, Azure, AWS security. This is like associate security. So the moment you start going with Blue, you're going to get away from vendor neutral and you got to get vendor specific. Most of the certifications that we have out there are not vendor neutral. They're not CompTIA. They're very vendor specific. Cisco, Microsoft, AWS, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, right? So you're going to start going into very specific vendor certifications. The red certifications, those are really going to be mostly vendor neutral. Most of them, OSCP, CEH. There's not a lot of big time red certification. It's really just CEH, CEH Practical, LPT, Licensed Pen Tester. You have OSCP and the whole realm of all their certifications that they have. So you're not going to find a lot of too much red, but tons of blue. All right. Think of all the vendor, like if you're learning a technology to secure that technology, that's what I'm talking about. That's your blue certification. All right. And then come your management cert. So when you guys are really old and you don't want to do tech anymore, you say, I'm going to do security management now. That's going to be like, you can start up with things like ISC Square, which makes the famous CISSP. Then you're going to get things like the SSCP, the CISSP certification, which is CISSP, something I teach quite a lot. So that's like, when it comes to blue certifications, like your CISSP would be your top, Security Plus would just be all the way at the bottom there. Then you have all your vendor-specific security certs within them. Think Azure security. Okay, guys, very good. If you guys have, I think I've answered everybody's. Is this a good move? So CYSA, then CISSP. AJ, if you don't mind me asking, how much years of security experience do you have? Put that in the box, and I'll tell you whether that's a good move or not. How much security experience do you have? Put that in the box, and then I'll answer that one for you. R says, Andrew, currently working on a computer science degree. Does it hold any value? This is the old the old argument between degrees versus certifications. Okay, I'm not sure, you guys may not like the answer to this one, but students coming out of college with computer degrees I'm just going to go right out and say degrees don't really teach you anything. Most of the time, the knowledge that these students are getting, and I don't want to say this for every college, I'm just being general. Maybe there's some specific colleges that has really good programs. But, I'm a teacher of these programs, and it's way too often that students are coming and telling me, oh, I have this degree and I have this degree. And I'm like, you're in my A+ course, for God's sake. They didn't even teach you this. And then you teach them some basic A+ concept or Network Plus concept, and they haven't learned that in their 4 year of doing what? Certifications gives you a lot more knowledge over a degree any time of the day. Okay, I would tell you that. Certifications will give you way more knowledge, way more testing, way more validation of someone's skills. Now, certification does have its criticism. People always say, and sometimes I see on the Reddit forum, certifications, oh, A+ is useless. If you're going to, if you get the certification and all you did was read the book and practice the test and took the exam, and you don't know much, but you were able to squeeze by the test, yeah, the certification didn't teach you much. But if you use the certification, you did the labs, you practice it, you took apart a computer, you installed Windows, you did the Linux installation, you knew your IP address, and you memorized your OSI model, you set up file sharing, you did vulnerability testing and Security Plus, you did the work, the knowledge you're going to gain from certification is a lot more. But unfortunately, a lot of companies want a degree. A lot of times, guys, listen, I got a pretty damn useless master's degree in computer information system. And it's a pretty useless degree. I'll tell you guys, I didn't learn anything in it. But sometimes you need a degree to check a box. We were applying to do some things in another state, and I needed to have a degree to be an instructor in that particular state. And they needed a master's degree. So I had to go get a master's degree. Why? Because I just need to check a box. So a lot of times, unfortunately, some companies that you move up the ladder, but generally entry-level jobs may not need that degree right away. But as time goes on, as you start moving up the ladder, and I'm going to tell you guys something, reality kicks in. Reality kicks in at some point when you're going to hit a limit within your ability or to get new opportunities. Listen, if you start in one company and you stay there for 20 years, you may become CIO without ever needing a degree. But for you to move from companies to companies and get that super high paying big management director, officer, executive jobs, those all require degrees. So as you get older like me and you want those super high paying jobs because you just have so much experience, degrees are going to become pretty prominent. So if you're young and you can do it, go knock it out. But if you want a quick job and you want to get in here, do your certifications, get good certs, and then put your degree on the side. Trust me, when I tell you guys this, you will need a degree at some point if you're planning to climb that ladder to the top. Unfortunately, that's the way the world works. I hate it, but it is what it is. Okay, Angie says, not as far as technical, but more than 3 years on theory and implementation. So here's the thing, AG. AG asked me CYSA, then CISSP. So CYSA you can take right now. And it's not a bad combo. CYSA Security Plus and CISSP. Here's the problem, AG. CISSP requires 5 years of security experience, generally security management experience. So what happens is CISSP is not in your future currently. You would still need to get you would still need to get more. You would still need to get much more years of experience. Maybe another. You said you got what, 2 or 3? You still need to get the next 2 years before the CISSP comes on your radar. CISSP are generally for security managers. CISSP folks, when I teach my CISSP class, you guys would be surprised. You guys would laugh. Half of them don't know what an IP address is, and they still pass CISSP. Because the CISSP is really just a certification that is management focused and very high level. It's a hard certification. They don't need to know a lot. But it is a good route if you want to keep it on your radar. If you don't have the experience, just keep it. Listen, I remember in 1998, something like that, I was in an old bookstore here in downtown Manhattan, and I had walked by the shelf and I had picked up this book on the CISSP, and I remember telling myself, I'm going to come for you one day, because this was the CISSP is the granddaddy of all cybersecurity certification in terms of pay, in terms of prestigious. And I said, I'm going to come for you one day. 7 years later, in 2005, I would take the exam and pass it. So it took a long time to climb that ladder to get to that point of even taking it. For those of you guys that have no experience, entry level, CISSP is 5 years in your future at a minimum. As I'm taking these certificates. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for this live stream. Students, purchase videos, performance they covered in the videos, but they're not covered very well on others. But I covered, in the courses, right? I do a lot of demonstrations. So you see the technology. You can practice along with me. I told you that's the best way to learn, right? That's what I'm studying. No, don't feel bad, right? We're talking about the degree. Don't feel too bad. I'm telling you, the degree is still useful because unfortunately the job world wants it. But, listen, if you're in college, you already selected your college, you're already going through the motion, just finish it off, man. Okay, it's going to come in usefulness later on in your life. Just remember, unless your curriculum is written differently, you're probably not going to learn a lot of it. Thanks a lot. I think I'll go for the help desk, then go from there. JXT, you're on the right path there. All right, you're on the right path. Hey, I'm 19 years of, I have 19 years plus of software engineering and PMP experience. And I want to shift into cybersec. What do you suggest would be a good jump? Well, Knowledge22, username, it depends on your background, right? It depends on how strong your background is. Remember, cybersecurity, once again, is not the beginning. Cybersecurity is towards the end of your studies or the middle of your studies. So go and learn, to get into cybersecurity, go and learn basic stuff. I'm not sure how much knowledge you know from software engineering. PMP experience doesn't apply here. Do you know how to install Linux? Have you ever done it before? Do you know how to troubleshoot file systems? Do you know basic commands within Linux and Windows? If you don't know those, start with your A+. Start with then do your network plus, right? How much networking do you know? You can't work in security, guys, if you don't know what a /30 does. If you can't subnet an IP address, you can't work in security, period, okay? There's nothing else there. So it depends on your background. So if you have a good technical background, you know all of these things, maybe you could just do your security plus. But if you don't, then do your A+, do your security plus, and then take it from there. All right. If I tell IT employers I pass, will they care? 99% of recruiters has no clue what is the difference between 601, 501, and 401. They have no clue between A+ from 2000 and A+ to 2022, okay? All they know is A+ does this and Security Plus does that. So IT employers they don't need to know exam numbers. All they care about is, hey, um, does this guy know IT security, right? Does he have basic security concepts? They know Security Plus teaches students basic IT security concepts. So that's all they're going to know. So when I make my resume, I don't put the exam number, because what if the exam, like, you guys, I'm A plus certified from 2000. If I put that on my resume, people are going to be like, hey, this guy, he doesn't know anything, because he never studied the Windows 7 or Windows 10, right? When I studied, it was Windows 2000 was on my exam, and Windows ME or ME. So, it's not, don't put the exam number on your resume is what I'm trying to say. They don't care. They just need to know, listen, here's what I want to tell you guys about resumes. Know what certifications do. Certifications does not get you a job. Okay? Certification does two things. Certification gets you a job interview, and it gives you knowledge and nothing else. Okay, that is all it does. It gets you a job interview and it gets you knowledge. You can have 1 billion certifications, but if you show up to the job interview and you don't know how to interview well, you're not going to get past the interview stage. If you don't know how to ask the right question, you don't show up in a presentable format, you don't speak correctly, you can't express your knowledge right, you're going to fail that interview. I don't care how many certifications you get. So by adding certifications to your resume over and over and you're still not getting a hit, then there's a problem, right? So let me go through some basic job functions with you guys while I got you here, since you guys probably have a problem with this, if you're going to be applying for a job. Let me give you guys, I do some career coaching to some of my students. Here's what I tell them. Listen, getting a job requires two things: good resume, good interviewing skills. That's all you need. Good resume, good interviewing skills. Now, here's how you'll know. If you send out your resume and no one is calling you, then you have a resume problem. If you send out your resume and you get a lot of people calling you and then you're not getting any job, it's because your interview skill sucks. So then you need to work on that, right? So if you're sending out your resume and you're getting 4 or 5 calls, you're showing up and no one is hiring you, your resume is fine. Leave it alone. Then what you need to do now is build up your interviewing skills. I can't get into that here, but there's a lot of video on YouTube on how to be a better interviewer. I have methods that I use that is pretty much guaranteed to get you a job, but I don't have time to cover that here today. But your resume, work on it, show your accomplishments, make sure it matches. Don't apply. Listen, if you're applying for jobs that you don't qualify for, maybe they want CCNP and you don't have that. You have CCNA and you're not going to get a call back. All right. Okay, I took this is a risk exam last week and failed it. After the hard study I did, I'm so disappointed. I'm still short of words. I did my best and I was, listen, Valentine, don't feel bad, okay? Failure is part of this industry. Listen, guys, I have over 60 certification once again. You think I didn't fail a test? I remember taking ITIL intermediate, ITIL version 3 intermediate. And there was one exam that I failed 3 times, passed on the 4th try. Okay, I just couldn't believe I kept failing this damn test. I didn't have the mindset. I just didn't have that mindset that would have allowed me to pass this exam. So once I developed that mindset, the exam actually became easy. Listen, find your strategy. Look around. Look for the right study guides. Look for the right study methods, and you'll pass your exam. All right? Don't get too disappointed. Anytime you guys, you guys are in this industry now, you should be prepared for somewhat of failing. Don't think you're going to pass every single. First of all, you'll never stop taking exams. You're in this industry. Most of us never stop. Sometimes I teach guys in their 50s and their 60s. They're still taking exams. Some of them have more certifications than I do, and they're still doing exams. And everybody fails. Don't worry about that. Here's what you got to do. Yeah, you lose a little bit of money. Big deal. Schedule it again. And just go take it again, man. Just wash off the failure. It means nothing. When you fail an exam, nothing happens except you lose money. The world doesn't end. All right? You gain knowledge. That's what happens. Now you know what the real test looks like. Now you can better prepare a study plan. Now you can better understand where you were going wrong. So don't take it hard. You got this. Keep it going. I see a lot of people posted on LinkedIn. You're talking about the certification level. I think they want to do that because they want to show that they took the latest exam. But what happens in 2 years when the new exam comes out? What do they do then? Do you know what I'm saying? Do they take it off? There's no need for that. Most employers don't even know. Network administrator thoughts. If you're going to go network administrator, you have the whole Cisco or Juniper method way there. You have the CCNA, CCNP, all the way up to CCIE. It's good. There's nothing wrong with network admins. Security isn't for everyone, right? I know everybody wants to do security now because everybody's hearing, oh, so many jobs in it, and there is, but there's still a lot of jobs for network admins. Don't forget that field still exists. It hasn't gone anywhere, even though most of our tech is in the cloud with SDNs, software-defined networking, cloud networking. So that job is still there. If you like configuration of Cisco devices or working on switches and routers, figuring out networking problems, network bottlenecks, and conflicts of data routes, that would be an okay position. There's nothing wrong with that. Still a lot of jobs on there. Do you renew all of your certifications? No. Some of them you don't renew. A lot of them are Microsoft certs. They just, I said I got 60 certs, but how much of them are valid in today's world? Oh, maybe 20. Right, like MCSE 2000, is that still valid? Probably not. MCSE 2003, server 2012, 2016. These servers are pretty much depreciated now. A lot of them are technology certs. So you just keep getting new ones. So do I renew all of them? No, only the ones that, some of them I just let lapse. I just don't have the cert anymore because I'm not using the tech anymore. Kind of Scrum Master. AG, a Scrum Master is a very different thing. Scrum Master, that goes into project management. That goes into agile project management. That's really a different thing than this, right? That would be something more in line of like, do you want to be a project manager? And especially Scrum is used a lot in software development project. I don't think that would be very helpful in entry-level tech. That would be helpful in entry-level software developers or project managers. Jeff says, 25 years aircraft mechanic, okay. Security boot camp. I'm beginning to study for the security project. What job should I be trying to begin with? It's going to be difficult to go and get that first security job, Jeff. I would say apply to as much entry-level security job as you could. And if you find you're not getting it, you may have to take that job as a help desk technician. Try to go through the help desk. I'm not sure University of Wisconsin, how their boot camp and what they taught you. Sometimes these security boot camps don't even teach you basic IT, right? They don't teach you things like even installing Windows. They don't go through that. They just go straight into security. And you can't secure what you don't know, right, Jeff? So it depends on your background. I don't know what they're covered there. But if you got the security plus, if you're able to do all the labs, try to get a good job in entry-level technician. If not, if you could, entry-level security would work. You're taking the class next week. Oh, that's fine. They're going to send you an email with a GoToMeeting login on Friday. Okay, guys, I think I have answered everyone's questions. I wanted to do some practice questions with you guys. So what I do on my personal Andrew Ramdayal channel, you guys can check that channel out, is I do a question and answer session with my PMP students that they really enjoy because I showed them how to select the answers on their exam. And I wanted to do that with you guys. So if you're studying right now, if you're studying your A+, your Net+, or your Security+, stay with me. Let's do some practice questions. I'm going to show some questions on the screen. And we are going to practice those questions here. And then we'll be done. So I'll do 5 questions for A+, 5 questions for Security+, 5 for Network+. If you guys, let me ask you guys a question before I do this. Do you guys find this useful? Would you guys like for me to do more of this every week? Answer your questions. What do you guys think? Do you guys find this session useful? If you do, we can do more of it next week, the following week. Hopefully we can get a couple more people. Hopefully we can get more attendees to attend our sessions. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, you do? Okay, very good. You do? Yeah, I really want to. Let's do some practice questions. Okay, so we'll do this again, all right? 1995 says, passed A+ in 2000. So mean you took it around the same time, huh? Windows 3.5, DOS, they did have a lot of DOS. They did have a lot of DOS. Let's do some practice question, okay? So I'm going to give you guys some good time to explain. Let me see how smart you guys are. Even if you're certified in one of these, just do the questions with me. I'll do 5 A+, 5 Net+, 5 Security+. All right, I got 15 questions. See how well you're doing. All right, let's do this. Okay, so let's go through some practice questions. Let's see if you guys are able to get it correct. All right, practice question number 1. A user logs on a PC and gets a message stating there is a duplicate IP address on the network. After a restart, the user notices the same error. Which of the following is the most probable cause? The user has wireless and wired connection. The user installed on a new printer. The user logged into another device. The user has set a static IP. All right, what is the most probable cause? All right, put the answer in the box. Put the answer in the chat box. Let me see what you guys come up with. A, B, C, D. Just type the answer in the box. Okay, guys, very good. Okay, D, yep, D. Okay, a lot of people, some people got D. All right, let me see what you guys got. Come on, guys. This is a very basic question. This is actually from A+. If you're studying for your A+, let's see what you guys got. After this, I'm going to explain to you guys in depth why one is over the other. Now, I'm not sure where you're studying from or anything like that. Okay, we got quite a lot of D's here, so let's see what the answer is. And the answer here is D. That is correct. Why is that? Well, first of all, they're talking IP addressing. So you wanted an answer that dealt with IP addressing. If the user has a wired and wireless connection, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell you whether, what can cause a duplicate IP. To cause a duplicate IP, there's really 2 reasons can cause a duplicate IP. Either the DHCP server, there's 2 of them, or it's misconfigured and it's giving out same addresses to multiple people, or somebody has a static IP that's conflicting with another computer that a DHCP server. So let's say the DHCP server gave an IP address to this computer, and then you want to configure that same IP on your computer, boom, you got an IP conflict. So it wouldn't be this. A printer will not affect this. Installing a printer on your computer does not get an IP address. they're logged into another device, that wouldn't help, right? If they're logged into another, every device needs a new IP address. The IP address, some of you guys got C, doesn't travel with the user. The IP address stays with the device itself. So that would eliminate that, making this correct answer. Okay, which of the following ports are encrypted sessions? Choose two, guys. Give me the two answers. You got to know your port numbers, right? Whether you're taking A+, Net+, Security+, Cisco, CISSP, you need to know your port numbers, guys. Almost every big certification out there will require the knowledge of port numbers. All right, guys, put the answer in the box. Put the answer in the box. How many of you guys know this answer? Remember, you got to select two answers, okay? All right, let me see what you guys got. A and D, A and E, A and F, just D. Remember, you got to choose two answers, guys. Two answers. Let me see if you guys are getting this. It is late to get into IT after age 50. Gail, absolutely not. Gail, you know, age 50, you still got 15 years more of work experience. Come on, Gail. No, why would you say that? You know, it's definitely not. You know, you got 15 years worth of 15 years more to go. I would never consider that. And, you know, people nowadays, they're not even retiring at 65, you know, with the way healthcare is going, people are feeling better and living longer. So maybe you got 20 more years of work ahead of you. If you retire at like 70, 20 years, 50, even 15 years is a long, long time. What was I doing 15 years ago? It was a really long time when I think about it. Think about it yourself. Think about 15 years ago what you were doing. So no, I'm assuming retiring at 65, by the way. So no, don't say that. Age is just a number for now. All right, that's all it is. Okay, guys, let's see the answer here, guys. Let's see if you guys know what we're talking about. So, port 22 is SSH. All right, port 21, port 23 is Telnet. This is not encrypted. Port 25 is SMTP, that sends email. That's not encrypted. 443 is SSL, TLS. This is encrypted. 110, I forgot this one. It's IMAP or POP3. It's one. I think it's POP3. I believe it's POP3. This is to receive emails. That's not encrypted. And definitely, did somebody say F in here? Oh my God, somebody actually said. A lot of you guys said F. Come on, guys, you got to study. You know, port 80 is the clear text HTTP port. That is pure clear text. You don't want to go to a website without an SSL certificate. You guys got to know your ports, guys. Do not walk into your exam if you don't know your ports. All right, here we go to wireless standard. Which of the following wireless standards is only capable of 5 gigahertz frequencies? Put the answer in the box. Now this one, you just got to know it straight out of your head. This one, you just got to know it straight out of your head. Let's see if you guys know this one. All right, guys, very good. I love how you walk through the process of elimination of the answers. If I'm set the answers, if I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what you guys got to do. You got to talk. When you're doing the question, you have to talk it through. All right, talk it through. You have to say to yourself, okay, so this is the answer to this. This makes sense. This doesn't make sense. But things like this, things like this is gonna be something uh, that is knowledge based. Like you gotta, there are a lot of things in these certifications that you just gotta memorize it, right? You just gotta like go out there and really memorize it. So I want you guys to keep in mind, wireless standards is only capable of 5G. So we want to make sure we analyze that word, okay? All right, put the answers. Okay, so a lot of you guys got B, C, okay? All right, so the answer here, guys, is going to be, all right? So C is A. The thing with A is that it was only capable of working on that. You're not wrong. AC does both. It says only, not 2.4 and 5. It says only. One of the things that in these exams that I've always noticed, and they get me sometimes too, is you could know it and you don't read it carefully and you get it wrong. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to read it carefully. Read it carefully before selecting an answer. All right, remember this word only. Okay, that mattered. Practice question number 4, guys. A new Linux technician needs to update the system packages. Which of the following commands would allow it to gain the necessary permission to update the software? Sudo, chmod, grep, pwd. How many of you guys, I asked you guys earlier tonight, did you install Linux and practice the commands? And if you took my course, I did a whole video on that where I went in depth into Linux commands and I showed you all the Linux commands. Hopefully you practice them along with me. Now, this is a very basic one. If you have used Linux at any point in your life, I didn't want to give you guys a difficult one, but I do want to show you guys that when you're doing your A+, you're going to need to know some Linux commands. So you got to make sure you know it well. You got to know your Linux commands best as you could. Okay, so what would make us, the answer here, guys? All right, let's see. All right, you guys still putting the answers in the box. What is going to make us a quote-unquote super user? It's called sudo. So you don't want to modify any permissions. No, this is wrong. You don't want to grab files or change passwords. You don't want to just see certain parts of a document or grab passwords or reset passwords or anything like that. Sudo makes you a super user. If you go through your A+ exam objectives, they have a set of commands that you need to know. I do cover those. Okay, so make sure you review them. It doesn't mean any course you study, is going to have any book you read, whether it's the Mike Myers book or any other book that is out there. They're all going to have these commands, and it's part of your objectives. A Soho technician, number 5, last one for A+, by the way. Download Linux tonight and get it started, man. You could do this. A Soho technician needs to install 10 computers with Windows 10 quickly with default settings on each of them. Which of the following installation method would the technician most likely use to accomplish this quickly? Unattended DVD, in-place upgrade, clean installation. Okay, guys, put the answers in the box there, guys. Put the answers in the box. All right, let's check the time here. Okay, we got a lot of A's here. AG says sudo. Okay, sudo. So sudo is when you want to run just like one command. If you want to run all your commands through that prompt, just use su. So you would just put in your password and you would be done, and then everything else is good from there. Okay, guys, put the answers in the box. What do you guys got? Okay, we got A's, we got some D's, we got some C's. All right, let's take a look here, guys. And the answer on this one is A. So here's how you would get this, all right? So we gotta explain this. So you gotta roll out, you gotta basically get Windows 10 on a bunch of machines. You saw 10 computers with Windows 10. You gotta get all 10 of them, you gotta do it quickly. So what's the best way to do this quickly? Unattended installations is when you would it would install without somebody being there for the prompts. The prompts would be things like, oh, what name do you want to name the machine? What's the CD key? What's the key to the installation of Windows? It wouldn't prompt you for anything. It just installs. This would be the fastest of the four ways. DVD, I'm assuming DVD and clean installation is the same thing. This is when you put the DVD in or the memory stick in, and you just clean installation means it would be you would just format the drive completely, but you would have to sit there one by one machine. In place upgrade would not work because there's no operating system. The question doesn't say there's already an operating system there, and it says with default settings. So that would eliminate this one. So with default settings, the best thing here is on unattended. So remember what unattended is. If you ever install Windows, you have to sit there and you have to go through the prompts, right? You would have to say, oh, partition the drives. I agree to this. You got to read that whole EULA and agree to that. And you got to say what version of Windows you want to install and all that good stuff. With unattended, it's all automated process. It goes a lot faster. So the answer is, which one is fastest? Okay. Those were 5 A+ questions, guys. Let's do 5 Network Plus questions. Now, if you pass your Network Plus, you would need to create a script when not attended. Absolutely correct. There is a script that's put into the Windows DVD or the Windows USB stick, and it automates it that way. Okay, so we got 5 Network Plus questions. Let's knock this out here. The technician is troubleshooting an issue on a workstation that shows the cable is disconnected. What tool can technician use to find the cable on the switch? So what can we use to find a cable on a switch, guys? Let's see which one of you guys have been studying. Okay, let's see if you guys have been studying, guys. Okay, so I think a lot of you guys got this one. This one is not very difficult. The answer is A. Let's see why. The main question is, how do you find a cable on a switch when it shows it's disconnected from the workstation? So the cable is probably bad and you got to try to find it. So when trying to look for a cable, the best thing to do is what we call a tone generator slash tone locator. These are devices that they're usually called a fox and the hound. You would take, now, you know, there's, do I have one on this desk? No, I do not have one of those on this desk. I thought I had one over here, but what those are you would plug the cable into one end, you would go to the other end, and then you would try to find the cable with a tone locator. So that would use to find cables. OTDR, this is an optical time domain. This is to check the integrity of fiber cables. Loopback adapters is to check whether your NIC card is working, and a multimeter is to check voltage, like on a coming out of a motherboard. So that doesn't apply here. Okay, a device operating at layer 3 of the OSI model use which of the following protocols to govern the path to a different network? SIP, RIP, RTP, NTP, and STP. Okay, guys, put the answers in the box, guys. Put the answers in the box. All right, guys, let me see what you guys got. So when you're studying for Network Plus, Network Plus is not easy to study for. It has a lot of stuff to remember. Acronyms drive people crazy, but if there's one thing IT exams are very famous for, is their large dose of acronyms. So I'm going to go through these here with you guys. You want to make sure you're going to know them. Okay, I see some of you guys have not studied. All right, give it your best shot, okay? If you haven't got through this, if you haven't studied for A plus, Net plus, or Network plus, Security plus yet, just, you guys can definitely listen to this. Because eventually you're going to come around to it. Okay, guys, the answer here, a couple of you guys did get this, is B. So let's go through this. So layer 3, what is a device at layer 3? A router, okay? A router. The layer 3 devices will route data across the network. What governs the path? That's a router. They're talking the routing protocol. Session initiation protocol is a VoIP protocol. So is RTP, real-time transport protocol. This is VoIP. This is to transport, not to govern path, but to transport video and voice across the network. So those two does not count. NTP is network time protocol. That's going to be used to synchronize the clock across your network. That's how come all the computers in the world have the exact same time. STP is the span and tree protocol. This will help manage switches and manage and switching data. That's not what they're talking about. It's a layer 2 thing. Making this the correct answer. RIP stands for Routing Information Protocol. This is a distant vector routing protocol that routes data based on hops. Remember, when you're studying your Network Plus, you're going to have to make sure you know these. Know your routing protocols. Okay, you also want to know some cloud. You will have cloud questions. A system admin wants to move some IT services to a cloud service offering. The admin doesn't want to control any of the application, installation, or setup, only assign you access to users. Which of the following should be leveraged to complete this task? Software, desktop, infrastructure, VASS does not exist. Just remember, it's not a real choice. What answer do you guys have? A, B, C, D. Put the answer in the box. All right, guys, let me see what answers you guys got. Give it your best shot if you have studied. Now, cloud services is actually covered. This is actually something that's covered in A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus. They're briefly mentioned in A+, and Net Plus, and they're really covered in Security Plus a lot. So give it your best answer, guys. Okay, guys, the answer here. Okay, you guys got 8. That is correct. It is software as a service. So this one doesn't exist. Infrastructure as a service, you're going to have to configure everything yourself. If you go to AWS and you get an EC2 connection, this is where when you go to a cloud provider and all they're going to give you is a blank machine. It may or may not come with an operating system, but you have to go in there, configure it yourself, install your applications, manage the entire application and the operating system. All the provider is doing is managing the hardware. So it's not this. Desktop as a service is you have a full-blown desktop. Desktop as a service, it's a full-blown desktop, but you have to go in and configure all your components on it. Software as a service, now we are very familiar, and if you think you haven't used this, you have Google Docs, Office 365, QuickBooks Online, Salesforce. This is an application, even technically Facebook and LinkedIn. These are applications that you just log into and you just use it. There is no installation. There's no configuration on your computer. It's just right through the web browser, making this one the best one. Okay, let's see how many of you guys know your IP addressing. A technician is trying to find the IP address of a server on the network. The customer has an IP address of 192.168.10.55 with a /24. Which of the following could be the address of the customer's server? All right, we got a lot of choices. There are 5 choices. Which one of these is correct, guys? A VDE, like a virtual desktop. Yeah, that would be. But you know, agent, you do have services that does that. You do have Amazon's workspaces. That's like virtual desktops. So it doesn't have to be something like on-prem. It could be something in the cloud too. Okay, guys, let's see how many of you guys know your IP addressing. Okay, guys, so a lot of you guys got D. Okay, let's see what the answer here is. And if you got D, you're correct. So if you know a /24, /24 is this actual, this is a subnet mask. That's not an IP address. So if you know /24 is 255.255.255.0, you guys remember I do a pretty big IP addressing course. Let me ask you guys a question. How knowledgeable are you guys in IP addressing? Are you guys good with IP addressing? Yes or no? How many of you guys are really good with IP addressing? Put it in the chat box. Let me know if you're really good at it. You know how to subnet out of your head. Let me know. Come on, I'm going to give you guys something today. Put it in the chat box. Let me know if you guys are good with IP addressing. You know, IP addressing is a skill that you're going to use for not just, it's a skill that you're not going to just use for A plus, but also for Network Plus, for Cisco, for Security Plus. How many of you guys are good with IP addressing? No? Okay, how many of you guys, since you guys showed up tonight, how many of you guys would like a free IP addressing course that I did? Would you guys like that? If I could give you guys a free IP addressing course where I go through all the IP addressing, how to subnet out of your head. I go into a little bit of IPv6. Would that be amazing or what, guys? Come on. Let me know, guys. Okay, do me a favor, guys. I want you guys click on the like button. If you guys click on the like button, I'll give you guys a free course right now. What am I going to be giving you? Let me show you what I'm giving you. Okay. So I did a lab-based course. So I did a lab-based course for IP addressing where I go through all of the ups and downs of managing an IP address. Let me make sure this, so I'm going to give you guys this course right now. Look in the chat box. You guys can get this off of Udemy. It's a free class from me to you guys. But I want you guys to click on the like button for me. It has 11,000 students. You guys can give this coupon. It's valid for 1,000 users. You guys can give it to whoever needs it. It's a course where I spent 4 hours going through with you guys how to subnet, how to answer questions like this, how to pass your exam. And, you know, I'm going to show you how to convert binary to decimal, the structure of an IP address. I'm going to actually write it down, and then I'm going to show it to you in a computer. So many people have used this course to really understand IP addressing. So do me a favor, guys. If you can click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel, if you haven't noticed. All right, let me know if that link works, by the way. Put that link, let me know if the link works. All right, guys, let me know if that link works. Okay, okay, very good. Okay, good. So look, if you guys, listen, if you guys just sit down and watch that, you'll be really good at IP addressing. Let's finish up these questions, and then I'll talk to you guys a little bit of how to use it. Don't forget to click the like button. Okay, let's do one more question, another IP addressing question, guys. See if you guys got this. Be the most efficient subnet master. You got to know how to subnet on your exam. You got to be able to subnet. You got to be able to do it quick. Subnet mask for a point-to-point link between two routers. What is the best subnet mask for that? Okay, guys, put the answers in the box. Put the answers in the box, guys. Okay, very good, very good. How many? If you don't know, if you don't know IP addressing and subnetting, this is Network Plus. Just give it your best guess, guys. Give it your absolute best guess. Okay, we got a fight between the A's and the D's here. If you're just looking at this and it looks like numbers to you, go through the course. You're going to learn it very well. Okay, guys, the answer here is D. Now, here's why. If you use, first of all, if you're going to use a /29 or a 28, you're going to give it too many address. Point to point means one-on-one, so that's one host, two hosts. You need two IP address. A /31 will give you two IP address, but one is the broadcast and one is the network ID. So it technically gives you no usable IPs. So 29, 28 would be too big. 30 would actually just give you two usable hosts that they would use things on, point-to-point links. Okay, that was your Network Plus. Let's take a look now at 5 Security Plus questions. All right, here we go, guys. Practice question. I think I forgot to put the letters in here. So if you haven't studied Security Plus, watch the questions here. You get a better understanding of what Security Plus questions will look like. So a security officer in a large organization needs to encrypt confidential data on a company's network. Which of the following encryption solutions should be deployed in this situation? WEP, triple DES, DES, and AES. What do we got? All right, guys, put the answers in the box. Okay, guys, the answer here, I think you guys got this. AES is the most powerful symmetric encryption that we have today. Symmetric cryptography is what's used to encrypt data, while asymmetric are generally used to just encrypt symmetric keys. First of all, WEP is crackable. WEP is no good. WEP was cracked the day it came out. DES and triple DES were cracked. DES especially was cracked in the 1990s and is not considered secure anymore. DES is the old data encryption standard. Now we have the advanced encryption standard. All data from this connection right now we're using, all information using all types of SSL and TLS is encrypted using AES symmetric encryption. And if you don't know what that means, that's the algorithm that does it. All right, so when you get into your Security Plus, I did cover that a lot when I covered the Security Plus. All right, here we go, guys. I forgot to put the letters here once again. A hacker is able to obscure sensitive data within a file so that it can be transferred without causing suspicion of the following technologies. Best allowed the hacker to do this: transport encryption, stream, digital signature, steganography. All right, guys, put the answers in the box. Okay, guys, the answer here. Okay, we got a lot of D's here. Okay, guys, the answer is D. So, transport encryption is just encryption protocols that are used to transport data across the network. Think SSL, TLS, SSH, SMIME. Uh, those would be like things that transports encryption. But in this one, he's putting data within a file. It's like a message within a message. So that is steganography, not transport. This is the way the encryption algorithm work. So stream, it's data set, it's encrypted bit by bit. So that's the encryption method. Digital signatures will not put data into a message. A digital signature, when a file is digitally signed and you send it to someone, it's still sent in plain text. So it's not hidden at all. So a digital signature doesn't provide confidentiality. It provides authentication, non-repudiation, and integrity. This one here is actually hiding something. So steganography, now in the Security Plus course, I did cover it with you. I showed you guys. How many of you guys took my Security Plus course? I'm not sure if you guys did that. But I did have a video where I took a file and I took a picture of my dog and I put the data into the picture of the dog. And then you could see it was very obscure. It was hidden. All right, number 13. An organization wishes to provide better security for its name resolution. Which of the following technologies best support the deployment of DNSSEC at the organization? LDAP, TPM, TLS, or WPA? What answer do you guys have? Put the answers in the box. All right, guys, put the answers in the box. Okay, guys, the answer here, let's see if you guys got this. Now, if you studied in your Security Plus, you would have to know the technology that's being used in DNSSEC. So what DNSSEC does, or DNS Security Extensions is what it means. What DNS Security Extension does is that it's going to digitally sign the zone files. When that means is that it's basically attaching a signature. So when you say, hey, DNS server, what's the IP to Facebook? You know it actually comes from that server and it wasn't a spoofed request. That's actually done with TLS. Anything that's digitally signed will use some form of certificates. LDAP doesn't bring any security in its native form. TPM is used to do hard drive encryption. So LDAP is lightweight directory access protocol. That does not actually have any security. Think of Active Directory without security. TPM, or Trusted Platform Module, that's the chip you would have on your computer to encrypt the hard drive on the machine. WPA, well, that's technically crackable. WPA is wireless. It does not apply to DNS servers. This one did take a little bit of knowledge, guys. All right, which of the following is commonly used for federated identity across multiple organizations? SAML, Active Directory, Kerberos, or LDAP? Put the answers in the box, guys. Let me know what you guys get. Okay, guys, a lot of you guys got A. Okay, let's go into this. So, if you were studying, you're familiar with this stuff here. The answer is A. So, federated identity is the ability to pass authentication and authorization information from one website to another. SAML can be used in technologies where you would, like, for example, using your Gmail to log into another website. You guys see that sometimes. Use your Gmail to log in here. Those are where you would use like SAML-based technology. That's federated identity. So its ability to do single sign-on across multiple websites. SAML is one of the biggest standards out there. Active Directory is not being used in this. Active Directory is what Microsoft's version of LDAP. That's what you would get on your Windows server. In fact, Active Directory is secure with Kerberos. Kerberos is not an identity management system. And technically, sometimes when you're doing a test, one exam tip is when you have three answers that are basically the same. Active Directory is based on LDAP and uses Kerberos. So technically, those three are the same answer. Okay, guys, last question of the night, guys. A user clicked an email link that led to the workstation being infected with a virus. The virus was not deleted or blocked by the company's email filter, website filter, or antivirus. Which of the following describes what occurred? A, the user account was set up as an administrator. B, the virus was worm, or I should say was a worm. Missed a word there. The email originated from a server the user trusted. The virus was a zero-day attack. All right, put it in there. No. AG, listen. They're talking the whole thing. They're not saying just identity. They're saying federated identity management. FIM means the whole thing. The ability to pass both authentication and authorization information to it. The ability to pass it, not SAML doesn't authenticate you, right? But SAML is able to pass that information, transfer the data, in other words, between the two sites. FIM is the topic itself. All right, guys, let me see the answers, guys. Okay, guys, the answer here is going to be the virus was a zero-day exploit. That is correct. So what exactly is that? Well, this is when the virus just came out. There is no fix for it. No one has any filters, antivirus, because the antivirus maker probably doesn't even know that the virus exists. So that's what it's able to bypass. Now, as a security admin or security administrator, this is what keeps you up at night. This is the type of thing that can really affect your business. This is the type of thing that can get past all your security mechanisms because there is no fix for it. The user account was set up as an administrator. That could be true, but even if it was, the email, if the antivirus should have still picked it up. It doesn't matter who's logged in. A worm should still be picked up by antivirus, guys. Even if you go to a server you trusted and the server puts a virus, the antivirus should still work. But the antivirus would fail to work against a virus that it doesn't even know exists. Okay, guys, that is my 5 questions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my session tonight. I was thinking it was going to be like an hour, but it was nearly 2 hours. Hopefully I answered you guys' questions very well. If you guys can do me a favor. First of all, did you guys enjoy it? I'm not sure. Did I ask that question? Hopefully you guys enjoyed my session tonight. Hopefully you learned something. In the coming weeks, we're going to be doing this every week, okay? So, if you're studying for a certification, doing practice exams, getting good explanation, hopefully I was able to explain it correctly and you were able to understand it. By doing these things, you're going to be more likely to succeed on your exam. And then you can always ask me questions. I know I got a lot of students here at the school on the Udemy course and all that. And people try to get me questions, but it's just hard to get me. AG, Net Plus is not hard. What it is that it's a lot of memorization. It is. And Net Plus has crazy. Like the first time you see Network Plus, it drives you crazy because there's so much damn thing to memorize. Okay, listen. I would, the video I just gave you, the IP addressing video. Listen, do me a favor, guys. Okay, use it. Don't watch nonsense on YouTube. Don't go watch no funny cat videos or whatever it is that you guys watch. It's 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Sit down for 4.5 hours and just watch the entire course. Okay? Watch it, learn it. I'm telling you guys, 4 hours of that stuff will change your IT career forever. Okay? It'll change your entire IT career. You're going to really learn IP addressing. It's something that you're going to need to know for A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, CCNA, even CISSP, for God's sake. All your IT certifications utilizes IP. I mean, nothing connects the network without it. So let's stay motivated. Let's get rid of the nonsense. Here, before I go, I'll leave you guys with some departing words. Listen, you guys want to change your life. You want to become better. You want to advance yourself in an industry that's a great industry to be in. The pay is good. The job is exciting. Every day, ask yourself, the actions that I'm taking today, is that advancing my career? If you're taking actions that are not, if you're watching cat videos on YouTube or you're watching people dancing on TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is, you're wasting your time. Don't do that. I'm not saying watch me, but watch whoever, right? There's some great A+ instructors here on YouTube, on Udemy. Read your books, dedicate your time, pass your exam, get that better paying job. You can do it, right? It's all about energy. Here's something that I've learned. The energy that you take to watch garbage is the same energy it will take to watch something useful. It's the same time, right? It's the same energy that you're using. It's the energy of the mind. You're not going to burn any more. You're not going to burn any less calories by watching cat videos versus watching a video on Subnet. So I'll leave you guys with that. Okay, guys, thank you guys for all attending today. It was great talking to you guys. Hopefully I answered you guys' question. Please come back next week. Bring me more questions. I'm going to do another set of A+, Net Plus, Security Plus questions. If you guys have any friends that are studying, tell them to join the stream every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Tell them to join it, bring their questions, and I'll see you guys next week. If you're taking your exam coming up, good luck on your exam. And I'm out of here, guys. It's getting late. I got to go home. All right, I'll see you guys in a week. Okay, guys? Take it easy.